What's up guys, Romsicle here, and this is the HAVIT keyboard with productivity in mind. And right away you can tell it's not your typical layout, and this is the first time I've ever seen a keyboard with this layout. Let's take a look at the keyboard itself. It's a 75% keyboard, or a 10 keyless size, with a case entirely made of plastic with a non-removable cable. You have some nice kickstand feet and anti-slip feet on the bottom. You also have the HAVIT logo on a metal sticker at the front as the only visible branding. So for $40 you're getting a pretty generic looking mechanical keyboard, and the only fancy thing about this one is the numpad on the top right. On the top we have our OEM profile PVT keycaps, so there's minimal shine after long periods of use, and the legends will never disappear. As for the color scheme, not too aesthetic to me. You have the Halloween colors of orange and black for your modifiers, and then you have this beige color for your alphanumeric keys. These keycaps are also thickened so you can get a deeper tone when you're bottoming out. And underneath our keycaps are our switches, and this keyboard uses exclusively G-Xian linear red switches, and it's almost impossible to find any information on them. But through physical testing I found that these switches have the same spring properties as a Gateron yellow switch, which means it has a 50-gram actuation force, a 60-gram bottom out force, and has the typical 2mm actuation distance, and a 4mm bottom out distance. And now let's have our sound test. And on to the most important feature of this keyboard is the numpad. Despite this keyboard being TKL size or 75%, we still get all the features from a full keyboard. So we have a numpad that houses your typical 6 functions as well as the numbers. To use the numbers, you need to press function backspace to get to numlock mode. This will turn on the LEDs of the numpad, and that means you can now use the numbers. The other functions will be disabled, and this is the only portion of the keys to have LEDs, which is kind of a bummer because I would have rather had the entire keyboard be backlit instead of one portion. As for the user experience, it is a 75% keyboard, so you do get a little more table space for your mouse, which is good. But obviously, coming from a 60% keyboard user, this is going to be taking a little more space, but you get a lot more functions. The non-removable cable is at least braided, but I feel like they should have made this a removable cable. It's 2020 guys, the removable cable should be the default. The typing experience is pretty typical for your linear switches. You've got a little bit of ping, the stabilizers almost have zero wobble, which is awesome, but you still get a little bit of rattle noise from your modifiers. And for some reason the spacebar is very scratchy. If you're planning on buying this keyboard, there are a few things to keep in mind. Now straight out of the box, it's a very decent keyboard. You have your red linear switches, and you have your numpad, which is a very rare layout for something with a 10 keyless size. And it's only $40, so the price is a pretty good deal. But you also have the non-removable cable, which is kind of bulky and gets in the way, and I feel like if they had a removable cable with this keyboard, it would attract a lot more users. And for the specific model, having backlighting on only one portion of the keyboard kind of rubs me the wrong way, and I don't really like that. So I think this keyboard is definitely acceptable since it's cheap and it has a rare layout that would benefit people who want a numpad as well as a smaller form factor, and you're not going to get this layout anywhere else. As mentioned before, this is not the most aesthetic keyboard by any means, but there is another version of this keyboard that's only $5 more, and it has a low profile design, full RGB backlighting, and PBT put-in keycaps, so it's like the ultimate keyboard for nighttime. But this keyboard uses red linear switches exclusively, while that keyboard uses blue clicky switches exclusively, which could be a downside unless you're able to do some tinkering with your soldering tools. You could solder a USB-C port at the back, you could desolder and resolder new switches, lube your stabilizers, and all that if you take this keyboard apart. But I do feel that you should be only doing all these custom changes on the RGB version of this keyboard, because I feel like for some reason without any kind of backlighting, there's just some kind of quality that's lost within the keyboard, and I feel like with an RGB keyboard, you can get that extra quality in there. But maybe I'm just biased towards having RGB lighting. So what do you guys think about this keyboard? $40 for a 10 keyless and you're getting a numpad? Sounds pretty good to me. And as much as I love a high profile keyboard, I feel like I would go for the low profile RGB version of this keyboard and customize the hell out of it. And if you're not savvy enough to do all these customizations, this keyboard is great for your average user, so I'm not too worried. Thanks for watching this video guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.